Hey, it's me. Doing a quick video here. You may or may not heard if you were on FedEx Rod's recent streams that he's interested in being a voice actor for audiobooks and stuff like that. Well, if you wanted to do something similar, or if you wanted to know how easy it is to get paid, I'm going to show you quick. Now, you need a ACX profile. The good news is if you're already part of Amazon, if you have signed into Amazon, you already have a sign up ACX because it's an Amazon product. This is my latest book that was done recently, and you basically agree on how much to pay the producer, which is the voice actor, and for this one is $562. It is $200 per finished hour. So per hour. So my book was only just shy of 300. So you have to. I'm logged in as an author profile. So you put details about the what you're looking for, how to look for, and stuff like that. You go into the audition. You can see the previous audition scripts, and this one I didn't do any audition for because I knew who I wanted to. I knew exactly who I wanted. And then you start by uploading the book for the producer to read. Then the voice actor has to do the first 15 minutes. And then this bit gets unlocked.
Chapter 2. X marks the spot.
Once the author is happy with that, then you start doing the full book.
Her reputation. She knows. Volume 3.
And eventually you upload the book. The author will send the payment out, and then they confirm it. Then it gets processed by ACX, and then you have an audiobook. This is the one lady that's currently doing mine. This is what you're going to be more interested in. This is going to be your public face. You have all the credits of all the books that she's done. She's done 2 of mine already. This will be the 3rd and probably the final one. She's done also other books for other people. So she's available for anywhere between 200 and 400 per finished hour. But you can charge as much as you want. Like, you don't have to set yourself up, but keep in mind, as a brand new voice actor, you're not going to get much. So the highest that they have is between 400 per 1,000. Like, if you go for the really good, famous people, then they demand good
On an
pay.
exceptionally hot evening early in July, a young man came out of the garret in which he lodged in South Place and walked slowly as though in hesitation towards the bridge. He had successfully avoided meeting his landlady on the staircase. His garret was under the roof of a high 5-storied house and was more like a cupboard than a room. The landlady who provided...
He doesn't have much. So let me... but basically, it's not... it's really not that hard. So that's just, unfortunately, a bad example. Let's see if we can find it. I mean, these people have the more confidence.
Chapter 4. Silk Browser and Important Internet Features. Hold the Fire phone in your hand, and you can collect information from all over the world.
Oh dear. you can put your websites. So she's from PA as well. Apparently that's all she's done. She's got some awards and recognition, so that's probably why she thinks she's amazing. But so that's what your finished profile will look like to us authors. You'll probably get a different actual thing. So when you actually start to set up and you want to know how to start, you can come up to this page. It's right down here under educational resource, video lessons and resources. You can promote yourself. They are on YouTube. All their videos are YouTube videos. So let me do the demo one.
Today, only about 5% of all professionally published books are made into audio. ACX will change all that.
I'm a book. I was published in 2009. I even spent a few weeks on the Amazon Top 200. But after that initial excitement wore off, I found myself just sitting around, just words on a page.
After studying acting in college, I relocated to New York. And so now, a few years later, I am finishing up a role on Broadway in an Oscar Wilde revival, and I'm looking for more. New, challenging forms of acting.
Then I heard about ACX, and it sounded like an easy and affordable way for me to get turned into an audiobook and get into the biggest online stores.
I had narrated a few audiobooks before, between my theater gigs. And my agent suggested that I sign up and put a profile on ACX, that I could produce audiobooks from my home studio.
That's how we met on ACX.
And that's how we connected, on ACX.
I posted a profile, took about 5 minutes.
I auditioned for the role. It took about 15 minutes.
About 14 other people auditioned as well, but I liked her audition the best. So I sent her the standard ACX agreement.
And I clicked yes. ACX is like a matchmaker, a marketplace where professionals connect to create audiobooks. The audiobook business is booming, and it's growing exponentially. Audiobook listeners are book lovers and avid readers. The average member of Audible, the leading audiobook retailer, purchases 17 audiobooks per year. The popularity of MP3 players, smartphones, and e-readers means most everyone can listen to a digital audiobook instantly. ACX can help authors, agents, and publishers get their audiobooks into the hands, or should I say ears, of more readers. It also opens up a new revenue stream. Don't leave money on the table by ignoring the audio rights to your book. It's easy to create an audiobook. Create a simple profile about your book. Search for studios and voice actors who will bring your book to life. Or wait for actors to audition for you. You choose who to work with and how to pay for the project. Either pay a one-time fee to the audiobook's producer when it's complete, or pay nothing up front and instead split your royalties with them 50-50. When the audiobook is finished and approved, ACX makes it available at retail. The process is easy, and the ACX
Gonna have to wait
team
until
is
the
here
end
to
now.
help you whenever you want. Sign up today. It's free.
My story is set in North Carolina.
And I went to college in North Carolina, so I knew how to insert that accent just the right place.
I wanted the audiobook done in 8 weeks, and she was free, so she said okay to my offer.
And what was great for me was that there were checkpoints along the way, so I knew he was happy with my performance. And while I was recording, I could call ACX for a little assistance with the technical stuff.
And then when I approved the audiobook, ACX delivered it to online audiobook stores. And guess what? My fans are buying it. I'm getting new fans. I go to my ACX account online every other day, and I get paid every month.
Thanks, ACX. I'll definitely be telling my actor friends about this.
I think we've had a pretty good working relationship. Maybe we should continue.
Sounds good. But until then, I'm keeping my options open. After all, there's tons of opportunities on ACX. ACX, the premier audiobook marketplace, bringing narrators, studios...
Alright, shutting that up. Just so you know, you have, when you submit audios or upload audios, you have the requirements that you have to do. Like, so if you're doing voice acting, you have to abide by these. The authors like me need these files in a certain way, otherwise it won't work. ACX won't upload them. There's tons more questions and details that you need to have. So, and let's get to the bottom and reopen that page. The most people that get intimidated by the gear that you need, what he says the initial cost is a little bit really not realistic, but it's not that bad. So I'll watch this one real quick. It's only 6 minutes with you, and then
I'm John McElroy. For more than a decade and a half, I've worked in the audiobook industry as a producer and scriptwriter. I've won Grammys and other awards, and I've worked with dozens of great narrators and famous authors. In this series of videos from the Audiobook Creation Exchange, I want to show you how to become a successful home-based narrator. Here's what we'll cover: setting up a home studio, the basics of recording, more advanced recording and editing, mastering, and the craft of narration. Watch the lessons in sequence. If you've missed something, you can always go back. Now, let's get started. I like the bistro chef's approach to cooking. Start with good ingredients, prepare them simply, and serve them without a fuss. The ingredients of audiobook production, the recording space, and setup. Begin the process with a simple, solid installation and successful follow. First, let's see how the pros do it. This is a control room at Audible Studios, where the engineer records spoken word programs. And that's the isolation booth on the other side of the glass. It's where the narrator sits and reads. Your home studio will combine the functions of both rooms into a single space. Let's start with the ISO booth. First, listen. Noise can't leak in when the door's shut, but the room does have its own noise, the low-level ambience we call the noise floor. If the noise floor is too high, it makes recording and editing very difficult. That ambience needs to be as quiet as possible. Now look around. The room is outfitted to dampen sound. From the wall coverings to the anti-reflective material on the table and stand, everything contributes to the deadness of the room. Sound is absorbed before it can bounce around and echo. So there you have it, the elements of a good recording space. Isolation from outside noise, a low noise floor in a dead room. How do you recreate this in your home? The truth is, you can't, unless you buy an ISO booth of your own. Possible, but pricey. But there are good alternatives. Here's one prominent narrator's home studio. A spot between rooms and a closet on an upper floor. No fridge compressor nearby, no heating system. He's hung a blanket, dropped a rug, and put a cloth on the stand to minimize reflection. If you look hard enough, you'll even see a piece of clothing hanging in the closet. Perfect deadening material. There isn't much neighborhood traffic noise, but occasionally a passing plane shuts down the recording for a few seconds. That's not a big problem. It's a really workable little setup. No frills, but it sounds great. And that's the important thing. Let's look at another home setup. This is more permanent looking, and frankly, it's more expensive too, but it's in essence the same thing. Recording components in a protected space. Big difference here, beside that big door, which is a nice piece of soundproofing, is the placement of the computer. That iMac is both a monitor and a processing unit, and that unit makes a lot of noise. The narrator has placed it just outside the window, beyond the recording space to cut down on any of that noise. But it's the same inbox, and it's pretty much the same mic setup too. So it's perfectly possible to set up a home studio without an ISO booth. Let's try it. Give me a few seconds. Voila! Home studio. A desk for the computer, a stand for the script, something to absorb the sound on the surfaces, and a chair that's comfortable and won't creak. And then there's the recording equipment itself. Some people use MacBook Pros and record with the computer fairly close to the mic, as it is here. That's great, but understand that these quiet laptops get noisy when they heat up. You'll have to shut them down and take a coffee break and let them cool. If you're working with a desktop, run extension cords from the computer to the monitor and keyboard. That'll keep fan noise away from the recording space. But what about the other components? Don't ever record directly to your computer's hard disk. Use a fast peripheral drive with lots of capacity. This one gets its power from the computer itself. It's a stable device, but if it goes, it's not the end of your computer. It's an excellent investment. You should also have a backup drive to duplicate your work at the end of each day. Become obsessive about saving your work. This is a large diaphragm condenser mic, the standard for audiobook recording. But there are cheaper alternatives, like this USB-powered snowball mic. Shop around at pro audio stores and test a number of different makes and models. Find one that suits your budget, complements your voice, and works in your studio. Tell the audio pros about your needs. They may even suggest a different type of mic altogether. You have to experiment. The mic's set in a shock mount which stops any vibrations from traveling into this stand. Vibrations generate sound, and we don't want that. This pop screen deflects and minimizes sounds that can distort the recording, like P's, F's, TH's, and W's. You'll need a 3-pin XLR cable to connect the mic to this little number here, the MBOX Mini 2, which does a number of things. First, it powers the mic. Hit this little 48V button on the back of the unit, the phantom power that makes the mic live. Then the MBOX converts the mic's analog signal into a digital signal the computer can recognize. And that's what makes it possible to record and edit the audio. Our recording platform is Pro Tools LE, which comes with the MBOX. There's lots of recording software out there, but for this particular application, I'm a fan of Pro Tools. It works on both Macs and PCs and installs easily. True, it's more costly than some others, but when you learn it, it's an excellent tool for home audiobook recording. Oh, and you'll need a good pair of headphones. Let's stop there. In this lesson, we've created a functional, inexpensive home recording studio. Next time, we'll prepare to record and start rolling.
Yeah, so that's the main video that I wanted you guys to see, but because people get intimidated by that. If that's enough to intimidate you, then you probably should think. But what is when he says that's inexpensive, you're talking about 800. If you read the price tags, you're over $600 automatically. If we call $600 inexpensive, then wow. So they had some sample ones up here, and then the books go to Audible, and you log in to, again, Amazon. They're also on iTunes and everything else. You know, they show up like this. You buy them and then they come out. You can have them on your cell phone or anything like that. I have my library. I am a big time audiobooks fan, so. And they do have some good celebrities. I love Morgan Rice's books, that's why I have it. But they have, you may recognize this guy from West Green. I got my own books, of course. But you got, this guy is more advanced. He has a proper studio.
She fiddled with the smooth coral beads of the Nautilin Tranquility bracelet.
It's a Star Wars book, so they have
she'd been promoted to Jedi
the sound effects of Star Wars and
silently
everything.
counting the smooth, slick beads.
And then you have Bernard Cornwell books, and you have people reading them. Jason Patton did my books for the Dark Knight series, and he did an excellent job. I believe you guys have
Audible hopes you have enjoyed.
Chapter 2. Cass City, a fledgling city of the Dark
nice,
Knights,
good voice.
of what remained of the Dark Knights.
And the
was
quality
like any
is
other
perfect.
new
You don't
city.
hear anything else in the background.
It had been a
So there you go. If you wanted to start voice acting, if you want to be possibly picked for one of my books, that's all you need to do. Have fun.